Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you, how was dinner? All right, we're making some adjustments here at the main event, and we really want to focus on the awards going forward. So the rest of the agenda will be focusing on the Booth Awards, and then our Lifetime Achievement and Pioneer, and finishing up with the CP Lowen Award. So would you please welcome from Door and Window Market, Tara Tafra.
Hey everyone. I love judging the Best Booth Awards every year, and I always judge it with a member of Fenestration Canada. And this year I judged the award with Dan Darcy, who is winning an award or being honored later tonight. Very deserving. And so let's give him a round of applause. Yes. And so we will just get right to it. We have a variety of categories, and the first one is in the Best New Product Windows category. And this product is one that allows companies to offer a triple IG without going to a bigger glazing product. Very important now as energy codes become more stringent, and that is the Super Spacer TG from Quanex. I think someone from Quanex is here. Congratulations to Quanex. And in the Best New Product for Doors category, this is a company that showed off a really impressive door. It was a 10-foot high by 6-foot wide aluminum pivot door, which is very easy to operate, very impressive. And that was Alumelco, which was part of the Everlast booth. Congratulations. And in the Best New Product Miscellaneous category, this product is very innovative sealant that cures in 10 to 15 minutes, and that goes to the Quickset Glazing Sealant from NovaGuard. Into some other categories, we have the Most Creative booth. I don't think a representative from this company is here, but they're definitely deserving. This company used a full aisle at the show to showcase all the machinery it offers from various companies. It was a great representation of what they bring to the table, and that was Fab Plus. But yeah. I think I asked, and I don't think anyone was going to be here tonight, but they were definitely deserving, had a really creative booth. The next award is for Best Marketing Campaign. This one was pretty easy. Definitely a great message that they had. This company rolled out a new global marketing message to its employees and customers. It is "We care, we act, we grow," and that goes to Becca. And our last award of the night is the biggest, that is the best booth. And this award gets a free full-page ad in DWM magazine, so great value. This best booth was really deserving, definitely brought the wow factor, was easily accessible, really great graphics. It showed off a lot of impressive doors, easy to operate, and that goes to Everlast and Alumalco. You guys can vote. I guess you have to fight it against the ad.
No, that's okay.
Congratulations. All right, well, congratulations to all our winners, and I really love doing this every year, and thank you to Windor for the opportunity.
All right, now let's begin the Lifetime Achievement Awards. And just to give you a little background, the Lifetime Achievement Award is awarded to individuals who have made an outstanding lifetime contribution to the fenestration industry in Canada. The recipients here tonight have demonstrated throughout their career a commitment to the highest standards and ideals. Their contribution to industry and society should serve as a model that inspires excellence in others. To begin and to announce our first recipient of a Lifetime Achievement Award, I'd like to call upon Terry Adamson from Fenestration Canada to present the award. Terry?
No. Good evening, everybody. What a great place to be. So I'm here to do the first Lifetime Achievement Award, but I need you to indulge me for a moment because I have something else I'd like to do. You may or may not know that I was president before Mike. So Mike, I'd like you to come up here for a minute. So Fenestration Canada presidents over the years give of themselves, their passions, their time, often their sanity, all for an industry that they love. You know, it can be fun, frustrating, and the pay is well above standard pay. So one thing, one thing that past Fenestration Canada presidents get is the big welcome party and the peaceful transfer of power. Usually done in an in-person event at our AGM. As we all know, COVID has a way of changing everything. So 6 months ago, I passed the Peppermill of Power in an online event to Mike. Now, we all know Mike. Who doesn't know Mike? Mike lives and dies for a great party. And ever since that day, it's weighed on me that he missed the in-person Peppermill of Power transfer. So Mike and I have spent a number of years together in Fenestration Canada, chatting, often debating, even occasionally agreeing on things. But during that time, I never thought that I would be president and then Mike would follow me in president. I never dreamed that that would be the case. I'm extremely pleased that that's the case. I think that Mike has an amazing passion for our industry and is doing just a phenomenal job. And it's really a pleasure. I'm technically working for him now, which is really bizarre when I think about the early days with him. So in front of everybody here tonight, it is my absolute pleasure to pass the Peppermill of Power on to our current and technically new President of Fenestration Canada, Mr. Mike Bruno.
Well, I think we found some bar. Kevin Pelly, do you remember where it was? Is Kevin here?
It was Alan Doyle, I think.
It was Alan Doyle. Well, we know Alan's not here. Where was it? Were we in? We were drinking at some bar. I don't know, and we're trying to figure out what the president. And someone decided to steal the Peppermill. We don't know where it's been. It kind of travels year to year. We don't have anyone who holds it and polishes it and all that stuff. But let alone, I'm proud to accept the Peppermill. Could be a good tool for those that don't listen while I'm talking, right? But I've had the pleasure of following Terry as the president of FenCan, but I've had a lot of people that have played an integral role in this, both professionally and personally. I mean, I couldn't do this without the support of my brother, my team, obviously my father who got us into this. You guys are terrific at Everlast, unbelievable. The likes of that are here today are Skip McLean, Kevin Pelly, George Warren, who isn't here today, that have played an integral role in where I stand today. Terry, I've learned so much following in your footsteps, knowing that it's okay to be wrong once in a while. So it's made it easier for my team to understand that I can be wrong, and I accept that gracefully. Stefan, I got to tell you, Stefan, dear friend, I consider Stefan a dear friend. A lot of you don't know, but Stefan would take 8.5, 9-hour drives to calm me down on an issue. And that is the honest truth. I respect you. You mean the world to me. You're doing a terrific job for our industry. You're making life as president so easy and so much fun that I want to be like Trump. I can do this again in 2022 or 2024. But you know what? On that note, enjoy your night. Let's have fun. And we have, for those that haven't been to this event, what's happening tonight, the Hall of Fame Awards. For those that are new to this industry, give back to our association and give back to the industry. One day, you can be on the stage receiving that award. And without those people, we all wouldn't be sitting here in this room. And that is the most important thing. You think you don't have time for it, you actually are failing if you don't make time for this. Thank you and enjoy your night. Appreciate it.
A lot of you don't know me. I can be a bit emotional. Not crazy emotional, but emotional. And I'm gonna be. I wrote a bit of a presentation speech, but I've lost it somewhere in technology, so I'm gonna do the best that I can with it. The first winner of the Lifetime Achievement Award tonight. I don't know if I can do this. Shit. He's probably laughing his ass off out there wherever he is. That's stupid. I worked for this man for 36 years. he came from Holland when he was a very, very young man, teenager, late 60s, I think it was. You know, just a young kid, didn't know the language, trying to fit in BC's Fraser Valley. Worked a few jobs over the years as he grew up and you know, acclimated to Canada. And then he stumbled into the window business, 1972-ish. Again, I lost my notes, so forgive me. Into a sales position. Didn't know anything about windows, didn't know anything about sales, but he knew a couple of things. He knew about service, and he quickly saw that all the other guys were selling a vinyl, or not a vinyl window back then, an aluminum window, maybe a door if somebody was selling doors at the same time, and that's what they offered. So he thought, if I sell this window, and I get this other bow window from this guy, and I get this from this guy, and I got no competition. And he became a very good salesman very quickly. And he worked for, it was National Windows back then in Vancouver. But Casey is not a guy that likes to be told what to do, as is most entrepreneurs. So it wasn't long, early 80s, he started an aluminum window company, Cascade Windows, in Langley, BC, with some partners. And it did well. 1985, I joined him. I was a young guy back then, and I looked at this guy and I thought, you know, if I hook my wagon to this guy, I'll bet you I'll do okay. So I did. And Cascade Windows did okay, we grew a bit, and then the economic climate was not favorable, and that was the end of that. We were all out of work. And Casey, you can't hold him down. It wasn't too long until he was importing windows. It was vinyl now. We were into vinyl windows at the time. But again, he's relying on somebody else, not his style. So it wasn't long until he was manufacturing vinyl windows. I had gone to work briefly for another local company, but he saw something in me and called me and said, hey, this is what I'm doing. Come and join me. So I was back in the fold with him. That company did okay. It was the 90s, so, you know, okay was probably great back then. It was purchased by a large international window company looking for a foothold in the West. Casey stayed on as sales manager. I stayed on. But, you know, large corporations rise and fall. It's all the numbers. And the late 90s, they closed us down. I thought, what the hell am I doing in this industry? It wasn't long. Casey was back. Started up Westech Windows in 2000, I think it was. I was very fortunate that he remembered my name and gave me a call and said, this is what I'm doing, but we're going to do it right. Service, product diversity, unique products, good products. That's what we're going to do. So I went back to work with him, glutton for punishment, I guess. And 22 years later, it is an extremely successful company, built on unique products, now very high performance products, but all under the vision of an immigrant from Holland with vision and commitment and passion for what he does. I was very fortunate. So were hundreds of other people that I worked with, that Casey provided very good livelihoods and a lot of great debates around the boardroom table and lots of fun, lots of challenges. Entrepreneurs are a breed unto themselves, and some days it was difficult, but I owe him, as the many others that worked for Westech and work for Westech today, a debt of gratitude for his passion and a commitment to the industry to never say die and to create a monster in British Columbia and the west coast of Canada and the US. Amazing products, amazing people. My gratitude is endless. The man provided me so much opportunity and gave me so many chances to prove myself and do great things. It is my absolute pleasure to award this Lifetime Achievement Award to Mr. Casey Kirkhoff.
Yesterday, when I was young, the taste of life was sweet, like rain upon my tongue. I teased at life as if it were a foolish game, the way an evening breeze would tease a candle flame. The thousand dreams I dreamed, the splendid things I planned, I always built to last. On weekend shifting sand, I lived by night and shunned the naked light of day.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you, all luminaries. Terry told me to keep my speech under 60 minutes. So, what happened? Actually, it was a great speech, but I think I'm even better than Terry said I was.
36 years of that.
It's, having been in this industry for nigh on 50 years, a couple of months short of 50 years, it is an unexpected, but certainly a very pleasant surprise to have this lifetime recognition. And I'm not one for weeping, but certainly it's an emotional moment. Most of these lifetime awards are often awarded posthumously, but at least I'm still here. No one is an island unto himself. We all need others around us, management, staff, in all the different phases of an industry. We can set goals and we can set parameters, but if it wasn't for all our staff, we wouldn't be where we are today. And admittedly, one of these people that was an anchor in our industry and in our window business was Terry. So thanks to Terry for many, many years. He didn't tell you, but he started as a truck driver for us 37 years ago. Who would have thought? We are a group which is very much like farmers and sailors and truck drivers. It gets into our blood, does it not? Once it's in you, it's hard to get out. Believe me, I tried, and I failed. Ours is not an easy vocation, and I think you will all agree with me that certainly over the years, it has become more and more difficult. With the building standards as one, the customer demands, the labor demands by staff, which has changed certainly over the last 40, 50 years. I've been asked to give some advice. Frankly, don't listen to my advice. If I'd been that good, I would have been rich. And rich is not synonymous with the fenestration industry. Unless, of course, you're Cam Drew. I will give you 3 pieces of advice, and that's the end of my little note. About 30 years ago, this was in the early 90s, mid-90s, I received an engraved tile about this big. And I had it enlarged, or we had it enlarged into a poster about this size. And what does it say on there? Never, never, never give up. That's been front and center on my desk for 30 some odd years. Never, never give up. If you set a course, do not give up. The second piece of advice I would give you is diversify, diversify, diversify. You've heard the term location, location, location. Well, in our industry, it is my firm belief, and it's certainly been successful for us, diversify into the different products. Like Terry pointed out to you, when I was a salesman, I did windows, I did doors, I did bow windows, I did skylights, a whole 9 yards from 7 or 8 different companies. And I always beat out the competition because they only came with one product. So don't stick to one product, white sliding windows, because it doesn't work. At least it didn't for us, and I don't assume it worked for anybody else. And then the third and last piece of advice, if I may. Know your cost. Your cost of material, as well as your direct and indirect cost. You might say that's a no-brainer, but you'd be surprised how many people don't really know their cost. And don't have your prices set by either your sales staff or your customers. You're better off with half the revenue and a profit than double the revenue and no profit. It's been my motto for the last 21 or 22 years, and it worked. And I'm not bragging, it was only the School of Hard Knocks that told me all this. And keep in mind, if you go broke, there will be no one around to help you or have a lot of sympathy. I thank you all for awarding this tonight. Enjoy the night. Don't drink and drive. And if you need any consulting, don't call on me.
Yesterday, when I was young, the taste of life was sweet, like rain upon my tongue.
Thank you, Terry. Congratulations, Casey. I just want to let you know, by the way, we're broadcasting live tonight online, and Alan Doyle, one of our members, he's our treasurer. He takes care of our money, and he couldn't be here tonight. He's watching, though, on the stream from his 95-foot yacht sailing around the Maldives Islands. He's our treasurer. Your fees are going up next year. Okay. Next up is I'd like to introduce Marco Greco of Astaco to introduce the next Lifetime Achievement Award. Marco.
No clap? Okay. Thank you so much. Just a heads up, I'm going to be speaking briefly. Frank will not be speaking, but I'll do my best. Glasses on. Let's see how this goes. Good evening. It is an honor to be here to present my father, Frank Greco, with a Lifetime Achievement Award. It might come as a surprise to those that know him that he has asked me to speak on his behalf. I say this because I think it's fair to point out that Frank Greco, God love him, has a reputation in the industry as a very effective communicator, able to mobilize production using a single four-letter word over and over and over and over again. Thank you. I can honestly say, having been privy to a couple pep talks throughout my life, his grit, determination, and warmth always came through loud and clear. It made him an effective leader and one of the pioneers of this industry. So, thank you for that, Dad. All joking aside, I've known my father to have three passions in no specific order: the town where he is from, San Vito, small town, and soccer. That counts as one because you cannot have one without the other. Secondly, his career in the fenestration industry. And finally, and most importantly, his family. Little known fact, Frank, as surprising as it may seem, was, he was offered several scholarships to play soccer in the US, no joke, and one of those universities was Notre Dame. But family commitments trumped his own ambitions, and he chose to be close to home to pursue his interest in architecture. Having passed up on his dream, he fully focused himself on his education and career. He took his first step into the window industry in 1977 and began working at Newmar Windows when it was actually in Newmarket. His responsibilities consisted of grading lumber, doing takeoffs, and odd production-related tasks. When he found out he was going to be a father, he doubled his efforts and would work his days at the factory and moonlight as a pizza maker. Did I mention he is Italian? Sorry. He doubled his efforts and would work days at the factory and moonlight as a pizza maker. Did I mention he is Italian? Nice. He carried on that way for several years until he was ultimately promoted to plant manager. These are just some of the examples of how hard he has worked to get where he is, the sacrifices he has made, and his love for his family. We are honoring him this evening, not only for who he is, but what he has done. My father has dedicated his life to this industry. Like many who are among us and being celebrated this evening, after Newmar, he went on to lead the production of some of many of today's better-known manufacturers in the region, plant manager at United Windows before it became Jeld-Wen, product design and plant manager at Brown Windows, and years later, part owner and operator of Ostico Windows and Doors. Today, that guy from a small Italian hillside town of 1,000, who came to this country for a better life and worked his ass off, is now the sole owner of his own successful window and door manufacturer. A company
Hi, everybody. Good night. I'm deeply honored to present a Life Achievement Award to a longtime friend. What is tough tonight is that this recipient passed away a couple of months back. Greg Hildebrand, for those that I've met Greg, is a peer to that industry and the development of the standard that is now the backbone of SNAFs. That was the first version of A440. I first met Greg in '87. I was at one of those A440 meetings, accompanying Armand Patnaud, for those that knew Armand. And I was there, and Armand told me, "Shut your mouth and just listen." I said, "Okay, cool." And Greg was there, a bit older than me, probably 7 years, something like that. Not even 5 years, I guess. And Armand and Greg were smokers. At the time, they were allowed to smoke right in the meeting room, actually. And I never smoked, but with them, I was smoking a pack a day, basically. And, I learned a lot from Greg. Almost, I've learned from Armand, but I've learned probably 50% of what I know today from Greg. Looking at him arguing, I probably learned how to argue from Greg. But arguments to get things better. Get things better for this industry, that was the goal of Greg. And his prime goal was to make sure that industry was providing products that were good for those that bought them. So protecting the public was one of the most important points that Greg was bringing to the table at these meetings. So tonight, Marion, Greg's wife, is here in the back to receive the award. And I've known Marion for probably something like 20 years. We haven't met a lot of times, but every time it's a pleasure. I I think that's, please, Marian, if you could come up here.
Every generation blames the one before. And all of their frustration.
This is a great honor. Greg loved this industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Marion. The next Lifetime Achievement Award recipient is Jay Mata. And I'll read the bio. Jay, originally from London, England, moved part of the manufacturing business to Uxbridge, Ontario in 1988, where the Mata family owned industrial property. And they were manufacturing European-style windows, doors, facades for the Canadian, USA, and Caribbean markets for inland and coastal markets. They outgrew the location and in 2006 started construction of a larger manufacturing plant and head office in Newmarket. In 2015, they expanded in light commercial with a second plant in Newmarket. In 2018, opened a third plant in Hamilton dedicated to serve the Canadian commercial markets. The Lifetime Achievement Award the recipient is Jay Mata from Tilco Architectural. Jay?
Thank you for this award, appreciate it.
Jay didn't want to speak much, but he did want to sing a couple more rounds of Sweet Caroline, but we'll get into that in a couple drinks later. Next up, to introduce the next recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Awards, please welcome from Duxton Windows, Al Duick.
It's a rare opportunity to do this, and make a couple of little circle comments, if I may. It's interesting how you talk about taking the time to come to these events to spend time together, because the circle in this case very much comes around on that one, because the gentleman I have the good pleasure of introducing from that perspective, Jean-Francois from Protomac, I met him a number of years ago at some of these Windor events, and I'm sure you all have some of the same experiences. You go to various booths, and sometimes you meet somebody who is very pleasant and open and things like that. And JF, as I'll call him, immediately impacted me that way. And I still remember very much us looking at some of his ideas, equipment. And so when we were in Quebec City, I believe, one of the benefits, we were within a short drive of their facility, which isn't exactly in a major city, which leads you to another part of the story, because I think most of us tend to think of these great achievements in Fenestration Valley or in, sorry, I shouldn't say that, Silicon Valley, where these things supposedly always come to be in amazing big cities with amazing technology. And that's one of the great parts of this story that I think are so important to Canada, because as close friends of mine would know, I am so tired of our society needing to buy the cheapest things from offshore locations, learning how to make them ourselves. And in this particular case, I was struck because at the time doing a bit of research with Daphne, his daughter, and various other sources, And it's kind of interesting because the story basically goes along the lines of JF had gifts of working with equipment, and one of them was in the electronic side, and he thereby, I would say, gained some special understanding of where some of this industry was going, what he could do with it, and his clients became attached to him, shall we say. And one of them, according to Daphne, turned to him and said, JF, I'd like you to get me the next piece of equipment I need. And he said, well, yeah, I'll go look around and maybe I'll source it somewhere, who knows, in Germany or Japan or China. He said, no, JF, I want you to make it for me. That's such an important element that I wish Canadian society industry would continue to build upon, that we would have the pride, the determination that JF had, because he took that little bit of inspiration and turned it into a very important business. And he now makes some of the world-class kinds of equipment. He connects to world-class people in this automation business, and we all know that in today's world of this pandemics where labor is short, it's important for us in the manufacturing business to be able to do this. And I think the crowning piece of this that I think is so important is we sometimes talk about family businesses and how they do or don't connect, do or don't work, how well we do. Well, maybe we yell at each other sometimes. I don't know. They're not Italian, they're French, so I don't need a drum roll for that, right? But I think the really inspirational thing is, as I talked to Daphne, she talked about how she had started hanging around work, shall we say, when she was 12, I think she said. I think she wasn't getting paid yet, so there's no problems legally there. But she talked about how her parents would go to IKEA to buy some small tables so she could, hang around and I think do coloring and draw things. Kids do that when they got to kill some time, I think. And obviously, for the next number of years, she wasn't quite ready to take over the business and wasn't totally inspired by this. But she said as she got to know the business a little more, she realized this was an important business. And so she became more and more acquainted with what was there and eventually decided, you know what, I think I'm going to get ready to take over from Dad eventually. And I think that's another so important part of that, when kids can see their parents doing things like that are important, that they want to follow in their footsteps. And that speaks so highly, JF, of you and your family and what you've done with them and what you've done for our industry. And so I'm extremely proud to recognize your achievements that way and the things you have done for our industry. And I think on your tables, if you haven't stolen all of them from you, there is a little shot glass that has the names of these people on here. So I have nothing in here, but please join me in raising your glasses in honor of JF. Thank you. I think I'm going to keep this one, take it back. You coming?
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for the good word for me. I really appreciate, and that's good for me. I'm a little bit nervous. It's not really my place in the front of everyone. And like you know, I'm not a real English people, and I will do what I do all of my life. I will dare to push the possible limit and my personal limit. Now. Just for make a story or a short story about me, last year it was an unforgettable because my health condition give me a time. I need to really take time for me because I have a surgery for my knee, and now I will say my new heart is refurbished 2021, brand new. 6 months ago. that's why I wish to be there. My wish is to be for 100 years. And now I'm 55, and I will be able to be in life almost twice of my age, I hope. But that's my goal. And today I'm really warm full time for me, because it's a good time I received this honor, and it really be at the right moment to be warmer with my new me. Thank you very much. Many times the people ask me what I want to the people remember to me. And my answer is always the same. I want everyone say I did the difference in the industry and in my personal life around me. It's that why I want to everybody remember about me. Only that. And my family, of course, my wife, Nadine, is there. And she said, don't show me, don't. But I don't ask her to coming in the front. But we always try to do the difference, and every day we give a hand of the community around to help everyone, and we're able now to do it, and the life permit me to do it, and it's I really appreciate, and I'm proud of it. The life gave me the opportunity to do the career I wanted, and in my life business, I always beyond my goal. To achieve this, I listen to clients, and I imagine the idea and what would be the need for the next 5, 10 years. And I always said too, I will need three lives to do what I want and I wish to do. But now I'm better than years ago, and I will be able to do more. I always talk with the clients, and I organize to something to be on the right place and do the difference, like I said, but it's not really all the time easy to do the job, because we play with every needs and all, and but the thing is I have the really good team around me, and he do the effort for the satisfaction of the clients, and it's like we know we always when the employees around me said, oh, it's a tough day today, I said, if it's easy, everybody do it. That's why we are there. And at Protomac, we are a family. We take care of each other, and we don't really try to be the big one. We want to be the best one. The main thing motivate you. It motivate me. It's a happy client, sure, and a happy team around me. And now it's 30 years in the industry now, and today my award I will receive will be on my personal museum. And I really say thank you again to Fenestration Canada, and I appreciate this moment. Trust me. One more thing. One of the things I have on my museum, in 2019 in USA at Atlanta, I received my first award about my new development with the SAW full CNC processing, developing for the really needs we have in North America. But it's a big thing, a big equipment we made, but maybe, I don't know when, we maybe try to bring this in the window show. It's maybe a good thing to have, but one more thing on my museum. Many thanks to Fenestration Canada. Thank you very much.
Jean-Francois spoke about, getting new body parts. It's important to notice that he printed them on his very own Protomac machine as well, so impressive. Some people say that this industry ages you. I disagree. Look at me. I'm 32. Thank you. All right. Now we move to the Industry Pioneer Award. The Industry Pioneer Award honors those who have helped to shape the industry, shape the window and door industry, and pave the way for others. Every 5 years, the Fenestration Canada recognizes those who have led the charge through their leadership, innovation, and entrepreneurial spirit. To award this year's Industry Pioneer Award, please welcome Paul McHale from H.B. Fuller.
Hello, good evening, everybody. It's an honor to be here tonight to introduce Lena Cherniak as the recipient of Fenestration Canada's 2021 Industry Pioneer Award. Lena's been a figure in the insulating glass business for over 42 years. 42 years! Incredible. She was in the window business before I was even born. That's something she likes to remind me of at least 3 or 4 times a year. Lena's taught me so much over the last 6 years working with her about products, applications, business. But what she's taught me is about customer focus. Lena has customers all across North America, and she stays in contact with everybody all the time. She develops deep personal ties to customers and cares not only about the success of our material, but also about the success of the people and the company she's working with. This is one of her strongest attributes and a big factor for the success that we've had here in Canada. Lena's made many contributions to the industry, but 2 of the biggest were in the development of hot melt butyls and reactive hot melt insulating glass sealants. Lena was on a team that developed the first hot melt butyl for IG assembly. She even has a patent on one of the first products we've ever sold into the window and door industry. And today, hot melt butyls are sold all over North America and across the globe, and she developed them. Additionally, Lena was on a team that developed and rolled out reactive hot melts across all of Canada. She worked with companies to replace 2-component products and convert them to faster and more efficient manufacturing processes. She led the charge on auditing all the lines across Canada. Right up until COVID, she would still get to every single plant and audit those lines personally every year. None of this was done overnight, and it took a tremendous amount of time, focus, and energy, but Lena is one of the most passionate and dedicated people I know. She started working part-time about a year ago, and yet she still clocks about 50 hours a week. If I send an email at 10 o'clock at night, I can guarantee I'll get a response from her that night or before I wake up in the morning. She's that dedicated to the business and to her customers. I want to close by just saying how proud we are of everything you've accomplished, not just for H.B. Fuller, but for the fenestration industry as a whole. So with that, let's give a big round of applause to this year's Industry Pioneer Award winner, Lena Cherniak.
First I was afraid, I was petrified, kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. But then I spent so many nights thinking how you did me wrong, and I grew strong, and I learned how to get along, and so you're back from outer space. I just walked in to find you here with that sad look upon your face. I should have changed that stupid lock, I should have made you leave your key. If I'd have known for just 1 second you'd be back for me.
You've heard a lot of accent today, but now you're gonna hear a real accent. I am from Soviet Union, from Russia. I came 43 years ago, and I didn't understand why I am getting Pioneer Award. Now I know. 60 years ago, I was a pioneer in Russia. When I went to school, we all wore red ties, and we were pioneers. So this is my second one, 65 years later, 60. So I graduated Leningrad University, master's in physical chemistry, Started to work, got married, had twins, and no future, nothing. So we left. We left. Canada accepted us based only on one word on my resume, oil. It was on my resume, chemistry in oil. So thank you, Canada. And then I was lucky, Fuller bought company in Toronto, and I applied and was hired as lab technician. The rest is history, 42 years with Fuller. And why glass, why windows? I have passion from day one to glue to glass. When I started, we had only one sealant, one butyl sealant and handgun. That's all, nothing else. Few years later, 2 people came to my lab. I was lab manager, Gerhard Reichert and Michael Glover, if people remember them, from H-Tech. They put little piece of foam on my desk, and they said, see what you can do with this. What is this? Spacer. I put it in envelope, sent it to our US facility. That's how Super Spacer was born. And together with them, I called on every Canadian account trying to sell the spacer with our sealant. Andrew Moore is here at this table, and he helped me to do it. Thank you, Andrew. Then one new line after another started to come in the market. Quicker, faster lines. Spadex, Aztec, Villian line, Bystronic, Lysic. We developed one hot melt after another because we wanted to be on those machines. I flew all over Canada to be on those machines together with our sealant. Then in '93, I had phone call from US. Lena, we need you in US as soon as possible. I didn't even ask why. I came. They introduced me to owner of GED. You heard of Intercept. Intercept, new machine, new application came out. And 3 Russians came from Siberia. They bought machine. They had to learn how to use it. They didn't speak any language but Russian. So they asked me to come and translate. No problem, I can translate. It was a huge problem. I knew everything in English, all terminology. I couldn't translate to Russian. I just couldn't, because when I left Russia, it was no insulating glass industry. It was piece of glass, 2 pieces of wood, and a lot of cotton and newspaper in between. That's how we insulated it. And here I had to translate, but we did. Anyway, after that, we sold our sealant on 75 Intercept, sold right away. So that's my history, okay? Why I'm still working? Why I'm still working? I'm still enjoying. I'm enjoying. I love it. I love my customers. I like to teach them. Now I teach their children and their grandchildren. Now, I need to say thank you to Paul for introducing me, my boss. I need to say thank you to Luke, my 30 years Fuller partner, who was with me, and he came from Montreal to be with me here. And I have to say thank you and sorry to my twins who came to Canada when they were 5. I took them to school when they were 6. I went to work and I forgot to pick them up. I was so excited, I forgot to pick them up. And when I came home, they came home hand by hand, they're twins, boy and girl. And they walked slowly home by themselves. So they're here and they're very, very successful people. And my son-in-law is here. So thank you industry, thank you Canada, thank you Canada. And thank you, industry, for everything. And I love it. Thank you.
Walk out the door. Just turn around now. 'Cause you're not welcome anymore. Weren't you the one who tried to hurt me with goodbye? You think I'd crumble? You think I'd lay down and die? Oh, no, not I will survive. Oh, as long as I
Thank you, Paul, and congratulations, Lena. Next is the prestigious C.P. Lowen Award, and it's presented biannually to an outstanding individual in recognition of his or her dedication and service to the window and door industry. The award recognizes the nominee's efforts to promote the mission and objectives of the industry and association nationally. Now to introduce this year's recipient, please welcome a recipient himself, Skip McLean from True Tech Doors.
Well, we're all here. I'm a little disappointed. I haven't heard one friggin' sociable all night. Sociable! Everyone lift a drink. Well, this is slanted, so I'm not going to put this here. Well, it's a pleasure being up here tonight to present this year's award, this year's C.P. Lowen Award, to a very deserving individual. I have a very short little note, 6 pages, I'm only kidding. Originally from Ontario, but made from as down east stock as they come. Dan embodies what it means to be a Canadian fenestration professional. Dan's passion for family, friends, along with his commitment to windows and doors, speaks volumes about the type of man we salute tonight. Always ready for fun. Dan has often told me that he works with and for his friends, and that doing so makes work easy. He would have done well in any industry, but I, for one, am damn glad he chose fenestration. His commitment to our association is unquestioned. He's answered the bell countless times to assist in past committees, in ventures, in AGMs, and setting up, and he even continues today. He's been a stalwart with our industry. Well, you didn't really come here to hear me talk, so ladies and gentlemen, please stand and give a warm welcome to my friend, Mr. Dan Darcy, Fenestration Canada C.P. Lowen Award recipient.
Okay, someone's speech is here. Should I say this again? No? That's not mine.
So that's not your review.
Oh, geez, we got a few. Well, I'll tell you, I can't tell you how proud I am to receive this award, but before I go through my speech, I want to let people know that the ones that saw me on the floor today, they should have understood that we've been in COVID and we haven't been in public. I went out and bought some new clothes and I had the tag still on my sport jacket, and Wania said, Laura, Steve, A lot of people out there saw me. I get back to my hotel room, and Liz goes, "Oh my God, you walked out all day with the tags on you?" Apparently. Anyway. Yeah. Well, you know, some people do that. When I look back when I first started in this industry, honestly, I was full of piss and vinegar. Today, I'm just full of piss. I hope that regardless of how many years I put in, that I never become full of shit. During my career, I was called a lot of different things, like a door whore, a window geek, disc jockey, a window radio, and the Energizing Bunny. I want to set the record straight. We got a picture up there? There we go. If you look at the picture, I am the ever-ready guy. For the ones who took advanced deductive reason in college, my wife and I went to a Halloween party dressed as Salt and Battery.
Where's that?
Like,
Who are you?
when I look at the list of past recipients, I had the pleasure of working with many of them. Most of them were mentors, a few just a pain in the ass. And I'm not going to say any names. To give you the Coles version of my career, I started with Door Seal Limited, selling windows for doors, Evergreen Doors, selling doors for windows, then to Baylite, back to selling windows for doors. I got tired of the corporate world with the Bay Mills Corporation and decided to move to Atlantic Canada in 1995 to start our own sales agency. I had been servicing this market for about 10, 12 years, but imagine this. We loaded up the car with a 3-month-old Simone. Let's just say we had 4 kids under 6, and we had my red-headed wife, Cranky, going, "Why are you taking us away from this support group that we have set up?" Anyway, we took the ferry from Portland, Maine to Yarmouth, Nova Scotia, heading to Dartmouth, getting off the ferry, kids asleep in the car. Liz looks at me with her serious look on her face and says, "So, when am I going to meet your other family?" Anyone who knows my wife Liz, she knows her sense of humor, so just saying. You see, we had no family in Atlantic Canada. It was just us. Again, looking back, it was the best move we could have ever made. The pandemic definitely changed the way we do business. Most, if not all, provinces were in lockdowns. There. No, there. See? This picture is a prime example of the impact of COVID-19. Under normal circumstances, I would never have thought to wear a bra on my face. Sure. Skip. Okay, Skip. Only you know. I have often said that getting into the window and door industry is like a life sentence. You know, it's like once you get in, you never get out. Thank you for this award from the bottom of my heart. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Skip, and congratulations, Dan. All right, folks, we're coming to that time of the night. Sure, why not? Make a little noise, cheer it up. The dance floor is about to be open. The food stations are about to be open. We've got some porchetta there, and we want to thank Becca, but let's thank Jason Waddell because actually it's going to come out of his Christmas bonus, what we're having here tonight. So thank you, Jason. Jason is new to the board, and what he doesn't know is part of coming to the board is he'll be doing the Sonny and Cher tribute on this very stage, but that's in about 7 beers. So, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of our program. Thank you so much for coming out and joining us for the main event. John Luca will take over, light up the dance floor. Have yourselves a great night. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen,